You know, I don't know how, but in the past hour, I've had 2 cups of coffee and I am still a little bit sleepy. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope that you're all having a lovely day out there. I don't know what's happening. I had 2 cups of coffee and I'm feeling like I'm like tired a little bit. I ain't got the energy. I mean, I'm energetic enough. I'm just like I feel like I'm kind of dragging a little bit. Anyways, I hope to regain some of that energy listening to Jade Warrior. We're going to listen and do a full album listen, I should say, of Last Autumn's Dream, released 1972. I have never heard of this band. I don't know a thing about them, but quite a few people have been recommending the band themselves, but then also this album. I guess they have a lot of albums in the 70s. Everyone kind of said to stick around their albums in the 70s. So we're gonna check this one out. So ABC, you had recommended this band. You said to check out one of the albums in the 70s. Paul Hansberry, you were kind of the lead person on which album to look into, and you had recommended this album. So that's also partially why I'm doing this album, because everyone else just said check one of their albums. So I figured I would just take this specific suggestion. And Ridge, Drink Your Tea, Yes Head, ABC, I See You There Again, MDR, Gelsol, I think that you recommended this band. Also, yep, you did. Schuler Southwell, and the list goes on just a little bit. Rob Bryant and PK1971PK. Sounds like a license plate. Hope no one can track you down. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that this album is instrumental because at least looking at the personnel, no one is credited. Actually, I lied. There is credit with vocals there by Glenn Harvard. So there may be some vocals on here. I might be mistaken. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. We'll probably stop every couple of songs or so. Some of them are a little longer. Some of them are a little shorter. We'll kind of feel it, kind of go with the flow of it. And hope that you guys are interested. Hope that you guys are excited and here for it. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. Starting with A Winter's Tale.
Ivy tapping on my window, wine and candle glow. Skies that promise snow have gathered overhead, buttered toast and creamy coffee.
I need some more coffee, I think.
Late for two. Lovely having you to share a smile with me. And it's alright sitting in firelight, making the room bright, keeping us warm. Yes, it's so good, smelling that pine wood, burning like wood should, blowing like coal. On the wall the clock is chiming, hours passing by. And for you and I, the wind sings winter songs. In the village, people gather at the lamplight inn, drinking liquid sin to keep the cold away. And it's alright sitting in firelight, making the room bright, keeping us warm. Yes, it's so good, smelling that pine wood, burning
This is a really good opening track, huh? Starting off with a very powerful one. Big one to open up with. I love that. It's a great introduction. I mean, as far as opening tracks go, that's pretty solid. That's a really great opening track. I love how rustic and acoustic it begins, the scene that we're getting set up with, describing our surroundings, the firewood cracking, et cetera, the seasonal invitation there. Really enjoyed the singing as well. I like how much heart it has there. In the open, you can really feel the heart in the melodies and the guitar and the vocals there, which, like I said in the beginning, that's going to be courtesy of Glenn Havard, is how you pronounce his name there, who's also handling acoustic guitar. And then you have David Duhigg, sorry if I mispronounced the name, but David Duhigg on the electric guitar. And then you also have John Field on acoustic guitar. There's a lot of guitar going on in here. Apparently there's some other instruments we'll get to later. But just, that was a wonderful opening, setting you up with a scene, getting the plot ready, but then that big drum moment comes in, and it's just off to the races from there. With that guitar just coming in and sweeping, the glorious harmonies, la 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 la, and that just rings off. That's a great opening track. That feels complete. That feels satisfying. I'm curious to hear the further direction as we move forward. Let's get into the lyrics for this one. I've ivy tapping on my window, wine and candle glow, skies that promise snow have gathered overhead. Buttered toast and creamy coffee, table laid for two. Lovely having you to share a smile with me. And it's all right, sitting in firelight, making the room bright, keeping us warm. Yes, it's so good, smelling that pine wood, burning like wood should, glowing like corn. I just really like the setting of that. You and your partner just sitting in, this is how I see it, in this cabin in the middle of the woods. It's snowy, but inside you have your hearth aglow, you have your flame lit just as much as your love. And it's just enjoying that very particular ambiance, That's at least how I read that and how I see that. So let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be Snake. Let's go. Getting a little Van Halen with it in there. Ooh, that snare hit. That bass is nasty. That's a deep hit. Interesting. Crunchy tone. through so many motions so quickly. Ooh, little flute bracing on the side. How are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do that? How are you gonna go into this so smooth of a breakdown near the end? How are you gonna transition into that and then only give us like 30 seconds of that? That was the smoothest transition. Okay, this is how I interpret this song, because okay, we got really, really heavy. We got crunchy taco in the beginning with that guitar, just the distortion is off the charts. It's absolutely menacing, right? That's the danger of the snake itself, right? Because he's talking about snake bites and cyanide sunrise and all these things, right? Okay, that's the danger presented. And just how shocking it is after the previous track to get into something so heavy, so kind of proto-metal, right? 1970s, you're right in the era there. How cool is it to get into that? But then on the second come around, on the second verse, we're graced with the flute. Now, this is just me, but I kind of interpreted it and heard that as like a snake charmer, like the flute trying to soothe the beast with its music. And how, I mean, if you listen to it, it kind of does. It doesn't completely make it passive, but it does add a certain kind of like, okay, you know, temper the anger and the danger of the wild animal before you. That's at least how I felt about it. And then the ending breakdown, which I really wish that went on a little bit more than the 30 seconds or so we got. That ending breakdown was kind of like the snake has been charmed and the beast has been there's a word, pacified. That's the word I'm thinking. I really, really like that though. That was so good. The flute is being played by John Field, who I mentioned before is also playing some of the acoustic guitar. He's also handling percussion and piano. And then that electric guitar once again is credited to Tony Duhigg. However, the solo on this track is, I'm assuming, his brother David Duhigg. I'm assuming, I don't know. They have the same last name. But that was such a different twist from where we were before on the previous track. That's why I love listening to albums and doing album listens, especially here with you guys, because we can get a full grasp and like a continuous grasp on a band's work of art and really see how it progresses, how it's changing, especially with the band I've never heard of. It's really cool to see that and to hear that. The lyrics, there's not a ton to go into on this one. Dynamite Head, radio said, many more dead, snakebite, cyanide sunrise, communist war cries, government gun-wise, snakebite, limousine black, rubber whip crack, real dirt track, snakebite, hold tight, don't fight, snakebite, reptile, vein bleed, snake speed, flesh greed, reptile. So obviously we're relating it to snakes, but he's also talking about different crimes, different wars and weapons and things that are used globally in battles and wars and et cetera, governments. He mixes a little bit of that political with a little bit of that literal with the snakes. So anyways, let's move ourselves into the next track here, which is going to be Dark River. It's 6 minutes long, so I'm imagining this is going to be kind of like Winter's Tale, where it's going to be like a long kind of epic, like a story. I don't know. Let's find out. Kind of ritualistic drums coming in from the back. This feels like something coming out of the jungle, out of the mist, out of the forest. And every time the flute swoops in like that, it's like it feels about everything, start a little new rhythm with an acoustic. This was a really nice change. Almost has a musical box quality, the way that this other guitar is being picked. Like a broken clock. It's really fluttering, that flute. Like, that fluttering sound. Such a deep kick there. That deep toms in the back too. This is kind of like your hypnotic trip. When the kava hits. Let's just hear the transition real quick. It's not a strong one. Just a stop and a start. Okay, listen. Hey man, did you take that friend that hey, did you take that stuff I gave you? Yeah, but I don't feel it yet. Oh, you will. Then when it hits. Okay, I know that's I don't know why I was thinking that. But that's what that felt like. We were in somewhat conventional territory before with the first two tracks. Like, it feels, obviously they're great tracks, but like we were somewhere else, right? This felt like the transition. This felt so, like us crossing that bridge, going to the other side. That was that journey. That was so cool how in the beginning you have, of course, the rumbling tribal-like drums just echoing through the leaves and through the mist. in the rainforest. That's at least what I see. And then the flute, of course, carrying us through. At first, it's graceful, charming, hypnotic. But like I mentioned, those little swoops, as soon as those came in, they were kind of like, oh, kind of shocking. They kind of woke you up a little bit, kind of scared you. Then we completely cut that off, went into a guitar melody that started things off just a little bit more sedated, and then slowly we grew even in there with some more guitar picking taking place on top of that. That, like I said, sounded a little bit like a musical box, like it just had that kind of what's the word I want to use? There's a F word I want to use. I just can't think of it. But like a very, not tinny sound, but it was like delicately picked on the higher strings, on the skinnier strings. It has like a very delicate sound to it. And then very, very in the back, you hear the drums begin again. You hear them marching forth, coming up. That's such a great effect. I really enjoyed that. And ever since we had that guitar break, I was like, ooh, those drums are going to come back. I know they're marching on the way back. You don't know when, but they're going to appear. And appear they did. And from then on, it is just this euphoric dance that is happening towards the end as it builds up and builds up. That's cool. I know I say this after every song, but it's true. I'm curious to hear where it keeps going, right? This felt like that leap into the other side. So now the question is, what is awaiting us over there? Let's go ahead and find out. We're going to listen to the next track, which is Joanne.
Bring your music, bring your beats, gonna blow some wild seeds.
What?
Joanne, gonna have a party. Joanne, gonna have fun.
Just a drum pattern.
Joanne, gonna have a party. Joanne, everyone come. In love forever after. Taste her
Kind of got a little psychedelic here.
Joanne, pretty little woman. Joanne, rainbow queen. Joanne, gonna get loaded. Joanne, know what I mean? Behind her spangled sequins, she tunes into your frequency. Joanne, gonna have a party. Joanne, gonna have fun. Joanne, gonna have a party. Joanne, everyone come. Joanne, 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 gonna have a party. Joanne, 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 everyone come. Joanne.
Do a quick thumper on the pick pedal there. Mad at that guitar now. It's the descent into madness. We got a taste of it over in Snake, but some of the album so far is kind of leaning towards like a kind of straightforward hard rock edge, but at the same time they still have these little things that kind of change the music. Like for example, the drum beat in here was kind of off kilter. It was a little bit unconventional, right? Like in its approach, it wasn't just a straight like 4/4 rhythm or whatever. It was like he kind of changed it around a little bit. Drums on here is going to be Alan Price, by the way. I haven't even mentioned him. I'm sorry. Alan Price is the drummer on here. And I like how he kind of takes that in like takes a simple pattern and rearranges it in certain ways. Takes the snare out of maybe the main part of the groove, the 2 and 4, and puts it like as the backbeat or something, and then puts a tom in place of the snare or a kick or whatever. Like he's switching the gears around to make this machine work just a little bit differently. And then of course the guitar once again, Tony Duhigg is just wailing, bailing, and crashing into chaos, especially there at the end, just going, just doing all that motion. I will say that I didn't care for this track as much as the previous 3 that we listened to. I didn't like the continue Joanne. Vocally, it was a little bit boring, and I don't think it was really like catchy, and just didn't hit the same marks of, I would say, uniqueness, I guess, that the other 3 tracks kind of pulled off. I don't know. I just enjoyed the previous 3 tracks so far more than this one. But that's okay. Nothing wrong with Joanne. That's okay. No problem at all. Bring your music. Bring your beads. Gonna blow some wild seeds. Joanne, gonna have a party. Gonna have some fun. Gonna have a party. Everyone come. Which, I guess you could say from the previous track, maybe the party kind of built off of whatever was going on before. In love forever after you taste her velvet laughter. Joanne, pretty little woman, the rainbow queen, gonna get loaded, you know what I mean. Behind her spangled sequins, she tunes into your frequency. So she's just the life of the party. that's what Joanne's having a great time. Everyone's having a great time with her. That's it. That's as far as I can tell the meaning of the song. Let's move on into the next one here, which is Obedience. Let's jam. I love some good percussion. I do like how that riff comes in with this percussion. Second guitar riding in. See, like, this is a different space. This is a different approach. Kind of feels slightly anthemic, right? With these long sustained notes. There's feelings of pride and endurance here. I barely noticed the percussion fade away and just kind of stop. So Obedience was definitely another one of those instrumental transitional pieces, which I'm really enjoying that in the music because I personally really enjoy how it takes you from one place to another. When we listen to Bill Nelson, like those instrumental pieces, they transport you. It's like you're getting into a ship on a boat and you're being taken across the river, across the sea to like the next place, the next song, obviously in this case. But I like the placement of these. This one I love, of course, that percussion and then the little ring from the chime or tambourine right after that, and then the heavy guitar riff that comes in. And at first they kind of clash in a sense, but slowly the track moves into like this beautiful coalescence of colors, especially at the very end when those guitars start to hit this sort of meditative state at the very end. Like at first it's heavy, but it works. And then slowly, like as the other guitar comes on top, they just all kind of begin to blend together and melt together into this kind of beautiful what's that thing? Ah, man, I was thinking about a kaleidoscope. Like it feels like a colorful kaleidoscope the way that the ending is. Like this, to me, sounds like a kaleidoscope. Because there's brightness in there, there's colors in there, and they're all just kind of mixing together. I think that that's a really great sound and use for this specific transition. So let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be Morning Hymn. Let's go. Hold on, I didn't do it. Let's go. This does feel like morning. This is the dawn of a new day.
Sleep's cloak no longer worn. Sun stop, I wait for dawn. New day come to my garden. New day come to my home. Songbirds sing for morning sing your song. Farewell, my lady white, pale flower of the night. New day come to my garden. New day come to my home.
That feels nice. That's just pleasant.
New day
Okay, it obviously transitioned right into May Queen. I'll go back and hit that transition before we get into May Queen, but let's just briefly talk about Morning Hymn, which definitely lives up to its name. It feels like waking up on a beautiful morning. You do one of these, you get up, you look over your land, or not. Like you look out into the world, and you're like, it's a beautiful day outside, right? That's what this feels like to me. Waking up, you put your coffee pot on ready and you get it going, you know, you hear the bacon frying in the back, and then you just look out into the world on this beautiful morning that it may be. That's what that track is to me. The singing is beautiful, the guitar playing is graceful, everything's just nice and quiet and just very relaxing. It's the calm before the sometimes storm of the day. Now, we heard a little bit of the next track, but I'm just telling you that this track tells me one thing about the next. And I'm assuming that the next one's going to be heavy. Not only just because of how soft this one was, but the next track, May Queen, I mean, it's 5 minutes long. Probably going to get some heavy guitars on this one. I'm just taking a guess, right? I'm taking a guess. There's not too many lyrics on this one to go over. Sleep's cloak no longer worn, sun starved, I wait for dawn. I really like that line. Sleep's cloak is no longer worn. You know, obviously you have like the physical, like whatever you sleep in or whatever you don't sleep in. But you also have like the cloak of sleep, like being asleep. You take that off and you're ready to wake up. And then sun starved, I wait for dawn. Like by that time you're kind of ready to like see the sun. I mean, most of the time, right? Sometimes you want to stay in bed, but sometimes you want to keep the blinds covered. But at that point, typically when you wake up, you're ready to see the day. You're ready to get out there and get everything started. Songbird, sing for me, morning hymn all day, sing your song. Can I tell you what? Last night, in the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, there's birds outside chirping, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Who set your alarm? It's not, why are you up? Go to sleep. They were loud too. Farewell, my lady white, pale flower of the night. New day, come to my garden, come to my home. And of course, I had assumed that lady white being the moon. Let's move on into the next track. Man, that bird was really annoying last night. Let's move on to the next track, which is, like I said, May Queen. Let's go to about right here. Let that transition. I like that bass groove. The pops of this percussion.
Sing to me, May Queen. Good to see your sunny face again, through my dusty window pane, May Queen.
Nice bright melodies that really make everything feel alive. A 1 minute 40-second fade out and a fade in with a new little melody. I like that. This has some spring in its step. It's a nice little riff. that fried tone. Getting wild in there. Okay. I really love how fun, bouncy, catchy, jolly May Queen is. Like, it feels like, I mean, to me, I think it's about, like, spring, is what I'm kind of guessing. But it feels like spring. It feels so jovial, so happy, so, like, free, ready to, like, get the day started. I guess kind of like what I was talking about before with the previous track. But this is like getting into the heat of the day. This is what that feels like to me. That really fun riff that they keep coming back to. Dun, da da dun, 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 dun. And then the dun, dun, dun. And then in that little section right after that, later, before it's just space, it's just nothing. But then later on you have that fried chicken guitar that comes in there and just crunches everything up, just like that crispy, crunchy chicken that just like comes in cutting everything through, right? And I love how the percussion is really the main rhythmic point throughout this particular track. Just those little pops, you know, almost like tabla-like in the way that it's being played. Just like, like there's just a certain kind of playfulness that all of that brings into the music, which is extremely like a delight. The singing was definitely on point on here, and there's not a ton of it, but what is there definitely works, especially with the words that are being spoken. But I just, once again, I really like the development in the track because they present you with something, they grow it, they bloom it, and then they slowly insert more ideas into that already established pattern. Like I was saying with that main catchy riff, and how they eventually brought in that even heavier guitar in the midst of that. And of course the flute coming in, that's always welcome. If you're gonna do it well, and they did, I'm gonna welcome it. So I'm definitely with that. With a wine warm kiss you bring to me lullabies of spring to sing to me. May Queen. Good to see your sunny face again peeping through my dusty window pane, May Queen. So you can imagine like someone, this is what I see. Someone inside, you know, you don't go out a lot in the winter if it's snowing and all that kind of stuff. You're stuck inside. But finally, you know, the spring is around the corner and you're like peeking out the window like, is it safe to go out yet? Is it okay to go out? Is the sun out? By the garden gate you wait for me, yellow hair entangled in harmony. May Queen, pretty maiden, dancing in the sun, meadow born, you live for everyone. That's how I see that. That's nice. Let's move on into the next track here, which at least title-wise takes a completely left turn. The Demon Trucker. Okay, let's go.
Everybody throw their hands up to the ceiling. Get out on the floor and stamp your feet with feeling.
What kind of...
You got to feed the truck into
This track kind of sounds like to me like their version of their. This is their having fun. This is their party song. This is the song that they want you to turn up. This is the one they're like, listen, it's gonna bother some people. Turn up the volume. Wake up your mother. Gotta let them know that you're just a demon trucker. You gotta turn up the volume. You gotta pump up the bass. We're coming. We're coming hard. We're coming loud, and we're coming in your face. Like this is that kind of hard rock that they want to go for at this point. And at the same time, it's still not like heavy. Yeah, it has a harder edge to it. Yeah, it has that riff. But once again, I really love the drumming here. Not typical. Could have been very different, but they changed it to make it something that stands out just a little bit with all the clinks and clanks and the cowbell and everything. The toms using a lot of that extra percussion there. I just think that feels really nice in there. But that main guitar line, it's catchy, but it also makes me glad that this track is only 2 minutes and 30 seconds long because it does get a little flat, kind of quick. You know, it's kind of nice in the beginning that. But then after a while, like, okay, shush, 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 shush. The singing was fine here. Everybody throw their hands up to the ceiling, get out on the floor and stamp your feet with feeling. Now you got the beat, you truck into the kitchen, guess the place to eat is just the place to switch in? Climb the stairs, stomp your feet, open up the door or the window, get yourself some headroom. Turn up the volume all the way, wake your mother. Gotta let them know you're just a demon trucker. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's my final say on this track. Oh, okay. Let's move on into the next one here, which is Lady of the Lake. Let's go.
Dark-eyed lakeside water woman sailing through the rushes. Twilight lady, tell me where you go. Sunset bound and silver crowned, you smile as evening blushes. Distant mountains burn with scarlet snow. Let music from the temple bell complete your sacred summer spell and guide the pilgrim to your throne where first the seed of life was sown. In a robe of starlight spun by poet's hand, giving hope to those who journey through your land. 7 rings adorn your fingers. On the water incense lingers. Willingly I sing at your command.
That sounds really nice. Oh, I love that tone right there. Has almost like a vocal fry kind of effect. That's good. Yeah. This is my speed right here.
Dark voices pray, let no man's word defeat you. We adore your wisdom and your way. Eagle kings on golden wings come slowly down to greet thee. More and more and more and more and more.
Lady of the Lake is definitely. Oh, hold on. I know we want to talk about the last song, but let's talk about Lady of the Lake first. Lady of the Lake is definitely my speed, definitely my preferred sound from the band. Just when they have these beautiful melodic guitars all overlapping on each other, some of them acoustic, some of them electric, and then the softness with which the singer is singing. Once again, that great percussion in the background. This feels like watching raindrops hit the river, hit the pond, and you're just watching the ripples come out in slow motion. That's what this kind of music feels like to me, and that really hits me in a certain way. You know, it's relaxing, but there's still a definite energy there. It's not placid. It's ever moving and going forward and pushing forward, and that feels really good in there. Like I said, I really enjoy that mix of the acoustic guitar, layering, putting it down. It's gentle, it's soothing, it's calming. But then you have the electric guitar, sometimes playing a few notes in the back, sometimes sustained, sometimes quick notes. But it works so well just in that atmosphere. It's like I don't know why I just thought of this, but it's like yin and yang, I guess. Like you have, the calm, the angry, I don't know, the female, the male. Like you have that balance in the contrast, which I think works extremely well in there. And then the little moments of space, like right here, which allow for more of like a calm solo to take place, in which it does stand out, but at the same time it also kind of melts and fades back into the music from which it came. It's like I don't know, a dolphin coming out of the ocean. Comes out, you see it, but then it goes right back in and it's under the water, you never see it again. I don't know. Who knows what I'm talking about, but I know that it sounds wonderful. See, like how the electric comes in those calm moments and just screeches and sings a little bit more and then flies right back under the radar. I like that. Hold on. Wrong verse. Dark-eyed side water, woman sailing through the rushes. Twilight lady, tell me where you go. Sunset bound and silver crowned, you smile as evening blushes. Distant mountains burn with scarlet snow. A lot of personification going on in here. Talking about perhaps seasons, weather, time moving forward. Let music from the temple bell complete your sacred summer spell and guide the pilgrim to your throne where first the seed of life was sown. In a robe of starlight spun by poet's hand, bringing hope to those who journey through your land. 7 rings adorn your fingers, on the water incense lingers. Willingly I sing at your command. Eagle kings on golden wings come slowly down to greet thee. More and more and more and more and more and more and more. So I don't know exactly what it's talking about, but I'm imagining it's somewhat of a poetic way of talking about either the seasons through personification or I mean, the whole album has actually talked about seasons. I mean, the album title is Last Autumn's Dream. So it's talking about the movement, the constant rotation, and the cyclical movement of time and, like I said, the seasons. That's what I kind of think that this one's hitting at. Anyways, let's move on into the final track of the album, Born on the Solar Wind. And I got to ask this. Listen, I do the test. You thought I was going to forget to do it, but I didn't forget to do it. Now that you've gotten to this point in the video, some of you are still watching. If you're still watching, what month were you born in? Just put the month. I don't need years. I don't need date. Just July. I'm a July baby. Just put that in the first part of your comment or somewhere in your comment, then go on with the rest of your comment. Anyways, moving on to the last track here, Born on the Solar Wind. Let's go. Which also did transition nicely into this. I forgot to really hit that, but you can hear it a little bit. Really nicely continues off the last track, actually. Like, perfectly. We have some cello in here. I don't see anything credited. Could be Havard on the double bass, maybe. all back. Bring it all back. Why not? That's a really good return. Born on the Solar Wind was, first of all, just like, it was a track for closure. That's exactly what it was. It was a track for finishing everything out, giving you that last send-off, a perfect transition from the previous track from Lady, and a nice callback actually as well. So like, it really perfectly kind of wrapped things up all together, kind of gave it a little bit of that like I said, cyclical nature, like where it felt like it was kind of going back to where we kind of began. But this time, like, it felt so much more powerful, you know, especially in the beginning, which I don't see it here, but it sounds like cello. But maybe it's just Glenn using a bow on the bass or something that's doing that. I could be mistaken, but I don't think I am. And then, of course, all the instruments coming in slowly, layering on top of each other for that final push, and also just repeating that main melody. Which, yes, it's repetitive, but if you think of it as the conclusion of the album, that really last firework in the sky, that grand finale, it really does feel like euphoric, and it gives you that nice, satisfying feeling of going through this journey, going through this album, and wrapping it all up with a really, really pretty bow. I just really enjoy how everyone came on top of that riff and then just carried it on to the big, bright end in the finale. Now, unless I missed something, I didn't hear any lyrics, but there are two lines here that are apparently like written down. The solar wind fills the sails of her golden boat and slowly lifts her into the heavens. So that's there. Unless I wasn't listening, I didn't hear anything. But it wouldn't be the first time I've missed something on a first listen. So, you know, things happen. But just based on those tracks, you know, from where you came, you go back in a sense. You know, the golden boat slowly lifting her into the heavens. Born on the solar wind, back to the solar wind, I guess you could say, in that regard. Anyways, this was a really fun album to listen to. I'm looking at some of the information here on Wikipedia. It says that this album was Jade Warrior's first album to feature Tony Duhig's brother, David Duhigg, who co-wrote The Demon Trucker with the band, as well as playing guitar on the track. And I guess that he returned for the next two studio albums, Horizon and Eclipse, as well. So anyways, I enjoyed listening to this album. I would say very, very easily my two favorite tracks were Lady of the Lake and Dark River. Dark River just really has that certain sound to me. You know, I know I said that beast in the jungle, something coming, but it's still relaxing, it's invigorating. And then Lady of the Lake was just really stunningly beautiful. I could actually argue and put Lady of the Lake and Born on the Solar Wind together, just because you could kind of view them as a two-piecer right there. But if I had to pick them apart, I'm choosing the Lady. So, guys, thank you so much for the recommendation. I appreciate you recommending me listening to Jade Warrior. Like I've always said before, and I think you guys kind of get it by now on the channel, you know, I don't have to pick the most popular or the most well-known artists and albums and stuff. It's just fun to explore music with you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed, you know, when I go off the beaten path, which, honestly, I don't really have a path. I just kind of go. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on the album below. Of course, you can follow me over on Twitter. If you enjoy the channel, you enjoy what I do, and you want to support me, you could do that for as little as $2 a month over on Patreon. But otherwise, please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all later. Bye.